Welcome to day 21 of our 28 days of word and prayer in the book of Acts. And today we're in chapter 21. The verses we're specifically going to focus on are verses 10 to 14. In this chapter, Paul is making his way to Jerusalem, and repeatedly he is being warned by believers as he travels along, believers that are speaking by the Holy Spirit, that things are not going to go well for him in Jerusalem. So in our specific verses today, there's a prophet, a believer with a gift of prophecy, Agabus, who arrives, and he gives a visual picture of what's going to happen to Paul in Jerusalem. And figuratively, he would be tied up with his own belt. While these warnings are being given, Paul appears to be free to make his own decision about this. And his decision, his own belt, will result in the consequences. Paul didn't fear what was to come, and he was steadfast in making this trip and in facing the consequences despite the warnings that had been given. And eventually the believers entrusted him to the Lord's will, as Paul had himself. And what they foretold actually came to pass. Very interesting. Just because the Lord warns about something or tells us that something's going to happen doesn't mean that it's not his will. God can prepare us through warnings. Our natural response might be to pull back, but God may be preparing us for sacrificial work in the lives of others. He did it with Jesus. He did it with Paul. And we are asked to remain steadfast to what God says, even in the face of other voices. Many years ago, when my husband and family, we were missionaries in Uganda, my husband John was warned in a dream about taking a particular journey with an overseer. And he saw in his dream that it would end in an accident. He warned the overseer, but he decided to go ahead anyway. And John also sensed that if he would be willing to go, his presence would actually save many. What he saw in the dream happened. There was a bad accident. There was a rollover. John incurred significant injuries, but in that time, God gave him supernatural strength to miraculously save many by lifting that vehicle so that others could be pulled out. He had the warning. He had a choice, but he went with what he felt God wanted him to do. Remain steadfast to what God says, even in the face of other voices. God bless you.